What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Disney Plus Wave 2. So we're looking at the What If characters. So we did get the What If characters from the first wave. I can't remember if I did videos on them or not, but I know we did buy them at least. But we're going to be looking at the two What If characters from this wave. So we've got Gamora, or Warrior Gamora. So it's where she has killed Thanos and now has taken over as him. So she has his armor and his double sword there, which is cool. And then we also have Goliath, which is Bill Foster. And I'll explain like what episode he's from, but looks pretty cool, you know, like I want to say alternate version of Ant-Man, but I'll go into that story. And with this wave, we did get the build a figure of Hydra Stomper. So we did build this, so we did of course have to buy all these figures to build it, and then we just got rid of all the live action figures because we don't care to have any of those, but we did just keep these What If figures that go along with it. So we do have the Hydra Stomper to look at there as well from the season 2, where he's a part of the Red Room now. So both of these look of course pretty cool. We got them all posed up there with the pieces that they come with, so we get the two arms with these two, so they look cool. We're not going to have a whole lot to look at, but we just have the 3 figures, so these 2 figures and the Build-A-Figure to look at today, a part of the What If Series 2 line. So let me get these out of the box, put that Build-A-Figure together, and we'll take a look at them. So we're going to start with Gamora, and of course with this being from What If, it is an alternate universe version of Gamora that ended up killing her adopted father Thanos, as well as destroying the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity Stones to prevent anyone else from using them, and she now wears his armor and uses his double-bladed sword. Now unfortunately we did see her in the first series because she was supposed to have an episode that we ended up getting in season 2 where she meets with Tony Stark on Sakaar, so that was supposed to be in season 1, but they didn't show up, but we ended up seeing her in like the final episode of season 1, or at least the final storyline there. So it was weird that she was there like with no explanation of what was going on with her, but then of course we got that episode in season 2, so we now see her here, like I said, that she had killed Thanos and took over. So overall of course looks like Gamora just in Thanos's armor, so looks pretty nice with the green skin, looks relatively nice overall, and I love the like white line designs on her face, so that looks pretty nice. So overall, of course with this being from What If, it's going to be cartoony, which definitely looks cartoony with the hair. So we get the long hair, so black up top going into the red colors, and that overall looks relatively nice. And then her green skin continues down to her hands, and then of course would be her legs and stuff as well, but we can't see it, with the Thanos armor over the top. So we got the all pretty much gold armor with the darker gray designs running throughout it. So again, looks exactly like the armor Thanos wore, just she took it this time and modified it to fit herself, and she still even has the high heel design. So all those old MCU figures always had the high heel, so she has it as well, and overall looks relatively decent. I like the design. The only issue is there's something weird with her head, so like at least to get her hair to sit back you can do that, but then her head looks like it's looking up too high and it's kind of like pointing forward too much, so it's hard to really get it to like where it looks natural. So if you do that, her hair is like sticking way far off the back, so it's just weird with that head design on the body that it can't really get the head to look normal. But other than that, everything else about it looks nice. But for movements, we get that does twist around, so we can twist it all the way around. Just got to get around the armor there with her hair, and then it can look down that far, and then up. Of course, it's only going to get so far because of the hair, so it can look up just a little there. Then the shoulders will come up. Now it's a little bit hard with the armor design, so we have this extra armor in here, so it only allows it to go up that far, but if it wasn't, it could go all the way up to 90 obviously, but it goes up that far at least, and then it can rotate around within there. Then we get the bicep twist, so there's a bicep in there, and the pinless double elbow joint, so that's always nice, so we can at least bend up a little bit there, so not too bad. And then the wrist will twist all the way around and has the hinge back and forth. Then we go to the ab crunch, so we have it right under the chest here, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then we go down to the hips that come up pretty much to 90 and out to the side with a thigh twist all the way around. Then we get the double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, so not too bad. And the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So of course with those heels, it does make her a little bit difficult to stand up, but once you get her in the right places, she'll stand up just fine. But then for accessories, the only thing she comes with is that double-bladed sword of Thanos, so we saw him use these in the movie, so it looks pretty cool there as well. And we can give this to her, so we'll definitely have to put it in this hand since she only comes with the one grip hand and no extra accessories. So let's put this in. So there we can have Warrior Gamora now ready with that sword ready to fight, and that looks pretty cool overall. So like I said, it's a nice design. It's cool to see her in the Thanos armor, and awesome to add her in the collection from the What If series, and overall looks pretty nice. And next up, we have Goliath, who is Bill Foster. He was a biochemist and former partner of Hank Pym in projects related to the Pym particles, and he used the particles to grow in size, becoming Goliath. But in the What If series, Peter Quill attacks Earth's Mightiest Heroes episode, S.H.I.E.L.D. forms a group with Hank Pym, Hope Van Dyne, Bill Foster, T'Chaka, Winter Soldier, Wendy Lawson, and Thor to take on the now empowered Peter Quill, who returned to Earth in the 80s. So we get a Avengers team, but with people that were around back then. So we get Bill Foster as Goliath, so with the name, and as I mentioned, he grows where Ant-Man, at least at the time, only shrank. He has the ability to grow. So overall, looks pretty cool. So body-wise stuff, it's pretty much just an Ant-Man body like we've seen with the Scott Lang versions from the MCU. Just I like the color design with the white and blue, looks pretty nice. Of course, with the silver thrown in like Ant-Man had. So we have the mask there, and again, looks pretty much just like an Ant-Man mask. Love the tubing coming around, the little spikes on the ears as usual, and the blue visor piece where you can see some of the eyes, and again, just some of that blue running over the face. Then go into the outfit, like I said, that looks almost identical as the Ant-Man with the nice little ribbled texture all over it. So some black up here around the neck, and then almost like a harness design with these little light blue dots running through it there. It looks pretty nice with the white everywhere else, so nice white collars again with that texture running all around through there with the blue on top. So the blue looks pretty nice, and in some places, especially on the forearms here, it looks like a metallic blue. And then we go down to black pants, so he's got black at least up to the knees, so knee pads on there with a little bit of blue running in, and a belt around the waist that probably has the Pym particles that allow him to grow in size, all the way to the white boots with a little bit of blue designs on them. And overall just looks pretty nice. Now of course it would be awesome to have him in a giant form, but of course for now we'll just have to settle with him in the small normal human size form. But we can do his movement, so his head will twist all the way around. He can look down. I know his head's really stiff on this, but he can look down that far and up that far as well. So pretty decent, just real stiff in there, so you got to worry about that. Then the shoulders can come up to 90 and rotate all the way around. We get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends up that far, and the wrist will twist around and hinge back and forth. Now it can't hinge too much back because he's got these big bumps on his hands, but it can definitely move inward there, curl in. And then we get the ab crunch, so cut out here in the middle, so crunch forward, crunch back. Not a lot of crunching, but it's got movements, and will twist around the waist as well, so just behind the belt. Then the hips come up to 90 and out to the side. Thigh twist all the way around. The double knee joint, that'll bend up that far to the back, so not too bad. And the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So overall, pretty decent movements. Now as you see, he does have pin joints on this, so not a fully new figure design or anything. But overall, I just like the design. Like I said, mostly just the blue and white colors I think look really nice. And now unfortunately, he doesn't come with any extra accessories. I don't know what you would really give to him. Like I said, it'd be cool if we had him in a large form. But other than that, he can't really come with anything else. So the only thing it came with were the Build-A-Figure pieces. But overall, I think he looks pretty cool. Like I said, mostly just for the colors itself is what I like about this. And mostly just awesome that we finally got a Bill Foster figure in Marvel Legends. And then finally, we have the Build-A-Figure Hydra Stomper, which is the Mark II Hydra Stomper armor that following Captain Carter's sacrifice, Steve Rogers continued the fight against Hydra, but was seemingly killed during his last mission. But he was actually captured by the Red Room and brainwashed into becoming their operative, with his armor keeping him alive for decades. So instead of them getting Winter Soldier or Bucky Barnes and making him become the Winter Soldier, they got Steve instead in the Hydra Stomper. And like I said, it's the device or machine itself, the armor, that's keeping him alive. And overall looks pretty cool. So obviously they shrunk this down a lot, has a lot more details and designs, very reminiscent of Ironmonger, and especially a smaller shrunk down version of Ironmonger. And of course I'll bring in the first Hydra Stomper to show you comparison wise the size, but overall looks pretty cool with the all silver design. And with it being part of the Red Room, part of Russia, it does have some red designs on it. So around the reactor piece on the chest, it's got some red. Up on the shoulder pieces, the little red triangles on the arms, got the one single star there on the shoulders, and then going around to the back with the missiles has a lot of red on them as well, and just a little bit of red sprinkled around throughout the designs there. So I like that, but like I said, overall just pretty much looks like an Iron Man armor, or especially an Ironmonger. But we got the nice domed head that's very reminiscent, and of course all the armor with extra armor pieces there. We have the area with the repulsors there on the wrist, and the extra armor just running all through it to be able, allowed to fly and everything, with the jetpack there on the back with the two rockets or engines, whatever they are there. And overall I just like the design, and especially with being shrunk down a lot, works a lot better, especially compared to that first Hydra Stomper. But for the moons, we get the head that'll twist all the way around. You can look down that far and up that far, so it has just very little movements in the head. Then we get to the shoulders that do come out to 90 and can rotate around, and of course that shoulder armor moves around with it. Then we get a bicep twist, so it can twist there, and then we get the single elbow joint that bends that far, so not all the way up to 90, but it has the rotation as well. And then the wrist will twist all the way around and can rock back and forth. Then we get an ab crunch, so right in this section, so he does crunch back and forth, not very much, but there is some movement in there and can twist around there as well. Then we go down to the hips that come up that far, so under 90 of course, and out to the side. We get a thigh twist around and the single knee joint that bends back just that far, and there is some rotation in that as well. And then we go down to the foot that can flex back and forth and can twist side to side. So obviously it doesn't have a lot of range, especially with the armor pieces. You know, you're not going to get that because it's a big machine that can't move too much, but it moves pretty decently for what it's got. Then we get some accessories for it, which is nice. So we get some additional hands. So we have hands, so you could do more like the repulsor hands for Iron Man. But since all the repulsors come out from around his arms, I think the fist would probably be better for him. But we do just get these open hands, so if you want that option. And then what's really cool is we also get a Steve head. So of course, Steve Rogers never became Captain America, so he stayed the small, skinny little guy. So we get his head, which is cool, and we can put it on the body. So there it is on the body. Of course, it looks way too small, but it is nice at least just to get this version of Steve Rogers, like, you know, the small little scrawny version. And then especially from this where he's got the beard and stuff now, since he's, you know, brainwashed and just living in this robot. So that is pretty nice that it came with it. It, like I said, it just looks way too weird since it's so small. So we'll definitely be just using the normal head. And of course, we can then bring in the Mark 1 Hydra Stomper armor, so you can see how tall it is, especially compared. So definitely a lot of size difference. So like I said, that's one thing I like with Mark II. They shrunk it down quite a bit, but yeah, just a very big robot armor there for the first one. And of course, Steve was in that as well. And we tried to like put the head on this one. I don't think it fits at all, but even if you did, it'd be way too small compared to this giant body. And he sits more down in like this section in this version. But yeah, there's just the two different versions of the Hydra Stompers. Like I said, just one thing with this that's positive is that I like that they have this one that's now shrunk down and much more manageable to fit on like a shelf. So that's like the biggest positive with this Hydra Stomper itself. Well, that's it for our Marvel Legends What If Season 2 figures, where we got Gamora, Goliath, and the Hydra Stomper Build-A-Figure. So all of these are pretty cool. They're obviously not like the coolest figures ever, not like the most, you know, well-known characters or anything. Just nice characters to add to our collection, like I said, especially since we do collect the What If, like more cartoony-looking characters. So the Gamora fits in perfect with that. And of course, Goliath, like I said, just getting a Bill Foster finally in Marvel is really cool. And then that Hydra Stomper, like I said, just with that shrunk-down size coming with that extra Steve head and stuff, just makes that cool as well. So I'm happy with all three of these figures. But let me know what you thought of them down in the comments. And if you enjoyed my review, let me know with a like. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.